Hi, and welcome to the Starter for 10 podcast. I'm Marnie Carmelita, Artistic Director of 10 Days on the Island, Tasmania's statewide arts festival. Join us as we get to know the creative minds who'll come together to create our festival in 2025. Get to know the person behind the art form, follow the journey of a work as it is created, or spark your own creativity and curiosity as we delve into and around culture. Miriama Grace-Smith, welcome and thank you so much for being here with us in Nipaluna, Hobart. I should say that you are here representing a collective of extraordinary artists, the Dreamgirls Art Collective. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read your bio as a collective and then we can get to know you a little more. The Dreamgirls Art Collective is the collaborative creative mahi of Miriama Grace-Smith, Zoe Hall and Gina Keel, motivating, stimulating and introducing new ways of looking at street art and modern art practices. Their striking work adorns many public and private spaces in Aotearoa, from the streets to gallery walls across digital and hand-painted mediums, with the intention to express, inspire, to share stories and empower. Together, they navigate the dynamics of collaboration with natural intuition and flow, combining their well-established individual visual languages to create an entirely new entity that holds its own uniquely powerful voice. That's quite extraordinary. Thanks, Miriama.
It's a long description.
It's quite the introduction, isn't it? And we're going to delve into your practice in a little while. I especially want to talk about the way that you each bring an individual voice that comes together quite seamlessly. And I think you described it as kind of creating more than just the sum of the parts. But before we do that, it'd be great to get to know a little bit more about you. So could you tell us where you're from and to use, that beautiful te ao Māori practice of starting with your family and whakapapa. Perhaps you can share with us how you came to your place in the world and who's around you.
So I live in the Wellington area. I live in a small town called Paikakiriki, which is like on the Kapiti coast just outside of Wellington City. And my iwi, our marae is actually just about 15 minutes drive from where we are in Paikakiriki, and that's Hongoika marae, and the iwi is Ngāti Toa. And then we also I have a few different iwi, but I'm mainly I was brought up mainly in Hongoika, and then when we go up all the way up north to Ngāpuhi area, Ngāti Hau, where my other iwi is.
That's quite, quite a heritage, I guess. Like there's a lot there, and it's quite a stretch of the country as well, coming together in you, which is incredible. And so who's in your world just on a day-to-day basis? Who's part of your family, part of your household?
So in my world, I see my mum a lot. And my most of my whānau are creatives. My mum is a filmmaker. My nana, she is a novel writer. And my dad is also a filmmaker. We've got, a lot of, I guess now I realise I'm quite lucky to grow up around creatives. For me, it was just normal, just kind of, normal life. So I've realised as of, now that I'm older, that maybe it isn't that normal. But I know that it's had a big influence on what I do now.
Did you feel any pressure to kind of follow in your parents' footsteps or find a creative pathway, or did it just feel so natural because it was around you all the time growing up?
I think because my parents were creatives, they saw that, because I was quite young when I got into art, that I had a passion for it. And I just remember Mum saying to me, you're lucky you've already found your passion.
Wow.
And if that's what you want to do, pursue it. And I was probably like 8 years old.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I think, and she just talked about it like it was just normal.
Yes.
And I remember like becoming a teenager, and I was really into my art and was letting people know that's what I was going to be, an artist. And I remember a family member saying to me, "Oh, that's really awesome that you've chosen a work field where you won't make much money." And then I thought, what? Mum didn't tell me that. So like
you didn't know that was part of
it? They just always told me that. Yeah, just, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. You'll make a living out of it kind of thing. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Did that give you pause for thought? Did you kind of stop and think?
I was really confused because I just genuinely thought it was like a job you could, I just
make a comfortable living.
I think because my parents, that's how they made a living.
Yeah.
And I guess I had not yet experienced having a job in the arts yet.
Was there anything else that you ever wanted to pursue? It was just always about that kind of art, visual art world for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think like later on in life, I realised like if I wasn't doing my own visual art, like my own work, I probably would have gone into helping others do theirs. So I have done really loved being able to bring other creatives together and have them like kind of inspire each other. And I think probably I would have went in that direction if I wasn't doing art myself.
Yeah. So always that creative path.
Yeah.
Has your aesthetic, your style changed over time from, when you were 8 years old, obviously, and finding your creative voice to now, this extraordinary colour and vibrancy and storytelling and a real kind of sense of that street art world and street style that you have now? Has it really developed and changed over that time?
I'd say like, I think because I've always been into like graffiti from when I was a teenager. And I found that without realising, I kind of put elements of that into my contemporary, like Māori art. And I did not realise it, but the feedback that I get is that it's quite street style. And for me, it was just that. And also people saying that they hadn't seen many Māori doing work like that and using colours like that. Like usually it's traditional colours.
Yes.
But I think I've always done that, but I feel like it was a bit harder for me to do that. But because it's me, I just kept doing it, and then now it's becoming more accepted. Especially in like gallery spaces, wasn't that when because I studied fine arts at Massey. I didn't see any of that when we would visit galleries or learn about creatives here in Aotearoa. So I feel like now it's I don't think that gap was there.
So you're talking about the kind of street style coming into the gallery space, but you're also talking about the street style impacting on kind of more traditional Māori drawing and artwork. And melding the two.
And because like I remember when I was learning graffiti, and then after that I started learning how to do tamako.
And what's tamako?
Tamako is like traditional Māori tattooing. And that's how I started learning about our designs.
Oh, wow.
And my mentor then told me you need to find your own style, and that's how people will know that it's your work. And then that's when I started putting in like the street vibe to it. And
how did you pick up the street style? Was that
I don't
was that something that you kind of learnt From other street artists or just
a lot of like, I guess like just getting inspired by artists. And then now that I'm kind of gotten more work in that scene, I've gotten to meet those artists, which is awesome. And now some of them are my friends.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And that's really awesome. But I remember I was like, there's kind of a similar flow. And for me, I noticed in tāmoko design that there is in graffiti design. I don't know if anyone else notices that, but I thought there was, and I just kind of
you could see that alignment or that crossover.
Yeah.
Have you ever tattooed on skin, or have you just designed?
I did. I was training for about 2 years, and I did do some tattoo on skin. And at the time, because I was like, I really want to learn how to do tāmoko. That's what I want to do. There's not many women that do tāmoko.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I ended up going, into another direction, just because I realised that when you pick up something like that, you kind of need to be dedicating a lot of your time to it. And I knew I didn't have
the space.
As much time as I would like to. Yeah. But instead I started spray painting moko on walls. And so kind of like learned from it and then put it into my own kind of art.
Just talking about scale, do you really love or need to have a very large canvas because of the kind of street art context, or do you also enjoy working on that very kind of small, intimate scale as well?
I've always I've only just started going large. It was always smaller, but I remember I did like the thought of going bigger, but it hadn't really crossed my mind to do. I thought, it would be awesome to do murals, but I didn't actually think that I would, go into that space. But I have noticed the bigger you go, you do want to go bigger.
Really?
It's really,
you just want to keep going.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like you just start viewing a normal canvas.
Yes.
You just start viewing a big wall the same as the size of a normal canvas.
We'll pick this up in a little while, but the Dreamgirls have just completed or recently completed a 7-story mural. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty large.
Yeah.
That's, scaffold on the outside of the building and you're up there painting the walls, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary. I want to jump into how you connected with Zoe and Gina. Was it had you done street murals before you came together with them, or was that something that you embarked on together? Can you remember?
So I had done one mural, and it was quite a large-scale mural. I look back at that and think that was really ambitious.
To do by yourself?
Yeah, and I think I'd done one small mural before that. And then there was a space opening, and the guy that owned it, he just asked the three of us who would be interested in collabing in a way or do bits of the wall. And then Gina and Zoe they'd been in doing murals for, Zoe said she's been muraling for about 15 years now. And I think Gina might be just a bit less than that. So when I did this collab with them, I was like really nervous because I was just like winging it, like just kind of learning as I go. But then I remember like thinking like, how do I fit into this? And then we did this mural together, and other people liked it, and then we just got asked to do more work. And one thing I remember about that time when we worked together is we just vibed. And I think I know it's very rare to find people that you can like vibe with as mates.
Yes.
Vibe with as colleagues.
Yes.
And then also creatively. Yeah. And then also I think there's the element of spiritually as well. And I feel like we had all of that, and we just didn't want to, we wanted to carry on kind of thing.
That's pretty amazing, as you say, to be able to find that together. It is, I think, incredibly rare. Just to kind of keep following along this path, I've heard you speak before, and that you feel that your individual styles are quite not hugely different, but they are different.
Yeah.
But you seem to find a way to blend your styles together to create one cohesive kind of artistic voice, I guess. Yeah. And did that just happen naturally? Did you spend heaps of time together just hanging out before you worked together? How did you find that?
A lot of the time it's like when we first started, we were like, okay, there's something happening here. There wasn't much planning usually, but then we all kind of just started finding the bits that we're good at and what we had to offer. So Gina's like our admin person. She's really good at admin.
There's always one.
Yeah. And then Zoe like kind of has these sparks of ideas and then I'm usually the front. So that's why I'll be talking a lot, it seems like, but it's mainly the reason is because the other two get quite bad anxiety. But it's all good. Like we just and there's no need to, I think that's when we knew we vibed well too, because there's never really moments where we go, hey, I'm feeling like this. Can you, those awkward moments, we just know where we need it. But now we're definitely better with planning now. Back then it was like, let's just see how we go. And then we got bigger projects and it was like, no, we have to like, we need help with these ones and like plan it out better. And
do you prefer working in a gallery or outdoors?
So I think for me, I like both because I like the balance of being outside and not being too like feeling too
hemmed in.
But then the weather is a massive part of it. So it's like a work that could take us. It's amazing to see we can work way quicker inside than outside because we're working with the elements. And then we have to be there at a certain time and we're like inside, we can be there all night and just vibe out and Your work, you know, the stories, the characters, the content often speaks to the place around it. So I imagine also draws in the weather elements and so on, it seems to me. So, you know, that seems to be a big influence on your work. You'd kind of take the stories of the place where you're creating. It was funny when we did Taniwha Time Machine and we were like down to our last days and then Wellington's so not, you know, known for the wind. And we were like just getting blasted with the wind on the last days and so we was getting so frustrated. But it was just like, it was like, wow, we got to take a break, you know. We need a break and we probably do need a break. So we'll go off and have a break and then come back and it's usually calm and
it's amazing.
Yeah, you kind of start reading the weather.
You really do. And I think like, you start reading into it, don't you?
Tuffety, what are you trying to tell us? Like, it's real.
I really love that. A lot of kind of visual artists don't necessarily get to see that feedback or response from viewers. But I know you've talked a little bit about, you know, people viewing and experiencing your murals and really loving being able to see their direct response and their emotional response. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, it's not like you would kind of hang out near your murals, but I imagine that as you're creating it, you're kind of getting feedback from people who are seeing it.
We get a lot of positive feedback, which is awesome. I think mainly because of the colours, like that even when they don't even know what we're painting yet. I remember when we painted a mural on Tory Street in Wellington and it was just after everyone got out of lockdown and I think people were still having to there was like a lot of
distancing and in terms of you know, maximum number of people and so on, wasn't there? And I remember seeing people walk past and smiling and
I realised then I hadn't seen smiles in a long time.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that's pretty cool.
That's powerful.
That's why I do what I do, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned Taniwha Time Machine, you know, that piece we know is the first time that you kind of have broken off the walls and created something that's 3D that people can actually play and engage with.
Yeah.
So that would have been different again to see how people were responding to that. Yeah.
Because our work's quite like kind of trippy, like out there, and it was like real. I remember me and Gina, like when we first saw it up, we're like, whoa, how are people going to take this? Yeah. It's pretty random kind of thing. And I remember on opening day, and there were like, before we had even opened, there were people going through dancing, like seeing them dance, and it was daytime, and they just like not caring who were around them, and also on the phone and actually talking away on the phone because there's nothing on the other side. Yeah, like really interacting the way we hoped, but we didn't know whether people would.
That's incredible. I think to give people a bit of context, we should describe, this piece. Taniwha are kind of the Māori creatures, serpents, dragons. I think I've heard you describe them as, and you created these two giant Taniwha, that people could walk through. And what I loved about the work, having experienced it for myself, is that these two creatures were kind of living creatures with music and lighting, and then you just mentioned the hotline to the divine. Yeah. So that was this kind of beautiful solo space, wasn't it? A phone booth sitting inside one of the creatures that people can kind of go into and pick up the phone and use it to connect with their loved ones who've passed over. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. So it felt to me like the work was a kind of living, breathing being, or two creatures, and that people responded to that by living and being and talking and, all of those kind of crazy things. It didn't feel like a kind of formal or traditional art piece. Yeah. And did that feel good to have people kind of playing around in your work?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. And then just like all the video sharing and tags and people like the poses and the phone booth. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Do you think people engage with it more than, say, a street art piece?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, definitely. And I guess it's because they're able to, do something with the work. Yeah.
And because as I said, I feel like it was a living, breathing creature. Wanted to kind of get a sense of, what inspires you and what you think about, what's kind of on your mind right now in terms of what's going on in the world or in your own world. But yeah, just a sense of where your thoughts are, or your heart.
I think, for me, I've been like really inspired being over here, and learning about meeting other artists and creatives. It's so inspiring. And just seeing how you guys have been organising this, and I'm really looking forward to being a part of it. And at the moment, that's my thoughts at the moment. Yeah,
because you're here with us.
And excited for next year, and I'm excited to go back and let the girls know what is going on. And I feel like for me, some were like creativity has sparked that wasn't there.
That's incredible, and something that we're really hoping to do with this time, inviting you to come and join us well ahead of the festival itself, but to really give you an opportunity to connect with this place, but also the other artists.
Yeah, and having like time to do that is awesome.
And you talked a bit in the last couple of days about, going into a place or a festival, and you're kind of creating a work and you just don't have the chance to connect.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about that? You know, that you just, you know, kind of fall into the painting process. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the times when we have been invited to take part in like festivals or to paint somewhere, we just actually have to be at the site the whole time until the end. And then
or if the weather comes in.
Yeah. And it's like doesn't leave much time to actually meet the other creatives. And there was a festival we did and I met a creative like in a club in Auckland, like way after the festival, and we were on the same festival.
And you didn't even realise.
Yeah, didn't even. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't catch you. We were so busy." I was like, "No, we were." I was like, "Don't worry, we were busy. Like, we didn't even get to make anything." Yeah. So it's been really cool to actually. I think like next year when I come back, I will. Yeah, because I've met people, I will actually have.
You'll have.
It won't be like me being shy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to connect and
That's really fantastic to hear. I wondered if there are other artists who inspire you, and you've talked a little bit about the artists that you've met with us over the last couple of days, which is really incredible. I kind of feel like our Lutruwita Tasmanian artists are speaking from one island culture to another in terms of Māori and Pākehā artists from Aotearoa, New Zealand. But, you know, aside from who you've been spending time with over the last couple of days, what artists inspire you, whether it's, other visual artists or musicians or writers? Your family's so creative.
I think I get really, I'm always inspired by my family. I've been spending more time with my nana recently. I seem to have jumped on a little promo tour quite a bit with her book that she released because I did the cover for it. And that's been really fun actually because I get to hang out with her and then just be there when she has her interviews and listen and take in like information that I haven't known like about her creative process and things that we didn't really learn about when we were kids. So I feel I've been feeling more inspired by my family. Yeah.
That's really incredible. And we should say that your nana is Patricia Grace, the living legend of Aotearoa in terms of, one of the great novelists, I think. And, just to be on the road with your nana, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And,
does she have a rider? Have a rider where, she says, before I'll speak anywhere, I have to have, 10 cans of Coke or, this kind of food or these kind of flowers or whatever it might be.
Yeah. She's funny. She is funny because she doesn't, she's quite particular about who gives her lifts to the airports and so I remember when because I was working on Mum's film, or on their film, Cousins, and Nana would come to some of the shoots, and she wouldn't let because I was the co-art director on it, and it was quite busy days as film is. But she would only let me drive her back to her hotel.
So you'd have to stop what you were doing.
She'd just wait for me. Yeah, she didn't want a lift from anyone else. I'm like, oh, Nana, but I'm not leaving until this time. She's like, oh, that's all right. Just wait. But there's like a driver there.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'll wait.
That's really special to be able to work with your family like that. Yeah. Is film an area of interest for you? Is that something that you'd like to explore more?
So Mum's quite often trying to get me to jump back on films, just like in the arts department areas. I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy the hours and how it's just like really quite stressful. And also like, because everyone, I find that quite hard and then everyone gets like grumpy at each other and stuff because they're tired. Like by the end of it, everyone just like going at each other. I'm like, oh, I'd rather just paint a picture.
That feels like much more your kind of personality.
Because I get quite like, look. It's all right.
With your work, and I'm thinking about you kind of coming back for the 10 Days Festival next year, do you like people to have knowledge of, to understand the stories that you're telling through the work before they see it? Is that something that you like people to have, in terms of the way they experience and view the work?
I think for me, personally, when I see work, I like to not know anything about it.
Some people prefer that.
Yeah, and then have my own interpretation because everyone has their own views on everything, lives their own lives and look at things differently. And then if they want to
engage with the story. I just know that your work comes from such a kind of story-based place. And I totally agree with you. You know, there's two schools of people, aren't there? Some of them just want to go in and have that experience and sit with those feelings and other people really like to do their homework beforehand and research and kind of find a context for the work.
I think like with the taniwha, what I did hope from it was that it made people want to learn about the stories of Te Whanganui Atara. And then I hope that they would be like, what is this about kind of thing? And then they would learn that there are stories connected to the area. But in a different way than usual.
And what I'm really interested in terms of connecting, stories of that place to here is that it will do the same thing, that people will be inspired to discover the creation stories or the stories of this place. That would be pretty amazing. I think.
Would be awesome.
Well, Miriama, thank you so much for sitting down with me and having a bit of a chat. Thank you for being with us for the last couple of days. And we can't wait to see you again.
Yeah,
thanks.
Same.
Thanks for joining us on Starter for 10. If you'd like to know more about what's coming up at 10 Days on the Island, visit www.10days.org.au and subscribe to our free newsletter.